Here's what happened. In early November 2025, the Fallen Astronaut manuscript was circulating among book publishers in what the industry calls on submission, where agents send an early draft to a curated list of editors to gauge interest and set the stage for an auction. Momentum was building fast, and a competitive auction for the novel rights was about to kick off, which typically means multiple imprints prepare aggressive opening bids and marketing plans. Before that auction even opened, Apple stepped in and reportedly made a high six-figure offer to preempt the screen rights, effectively removing film and TV dramatization from the package that publishers could chase. The book auction still proceeds as planned. Publishers can bid for print, ebook, and audiobook rights, plus some formats like special editions and large print, but the ancillary dramatization rights for film and TV are no longer on the table because Apple locked them early. In practical terms, that likely involves an option agreement with a path to purchase, giving Apple an exclusive window to develop and greenlight. For the authors, it's a massive validation signal that can raise the floor and ceiling of their book deal. For Apple, it's a clean, early grab of potentially premium IP before rivals can mount a counter. This kind of preempt usually comes with speed and conviction. Rather than wait for a long public bidding war that could inflate the price or split rights in a way that complicates production, Apple gets clarity and control. Agents often love this outcome when the valuation is strong, because it de-risks the path to adaptation and creates immediate heat around the manuscript in the publishing community. It also simplifies chain of title for the studio later, which matters for insurance and delivery, and it can shave months off the development clock because the creative team can start outlining, hiring a screenwriter, and building a package while the book deal finalizes in parallel. Why did Apple do this? In the streaming economy, library size is no longer a magic bullet. Distinct prestige stories that drive conversation, reduce churn, and travel globally matter more. Apple TV Plus has consistently bet on curation and craft, fewer projects, higher finish, and that strategy thrives when the company lands material that feels both elevated and zeitgeisty. Tech-forward narratives fit the Apple brand naturally, especially when technology is integrated as a storytelling engine rather than a surface-level gimmick. A VR-centered sequence hints at themes of perception, memory, and truth, concepts that are cinematic and thematically sticky. Perfect for awards campaigns and social discourse. A pre-publication buy also delivers concrete operational advantages. By coming in early, Apple shapes the adaptation from day one, aligning story beats with a film-first or talent-first approach and securing a head start before competing streamers even request the manuscript. First-mover advantage in the IP pipeline means Apple can target an ideal release window, position for fall festivals if it's a film, or line up talent calendars without last-minute chaos. There's a retention angle, too. Prestige thrillers with contemporary tech hooks tend to attract high-intent viewers, the kind of audience that binge less, discuss more, and stick around longer, improving lifetime value per subscriber. From a brand lens, it also reinforces Apple TV Plus as a home for smart, adult-leaning, conversation-driving stories that feel modern and meticulously crafted. What do we know about Fallen Astronaut? Official plot details are scarce, but the reporting highlights a significant VR sequence, which is a strong creative clue. Picture the visceral, high-stakes isolation of space, limited oxygen, mechanical failures, mission protocols, colliding with ethical and legal confrontations back on Earth. The gravity meets a few good men, tonal compass signals a blend of survival pressure and courtroom intensity. Physical peril intercut with moral ambiguity, chain of command questions, and truth under scrutiny. That dual structure lends itself to cinematic cross-cutting, subjective perspective shifts, and sequences where VR blurs lines between recollection and reality, raising stakes in both the body and the mind. If the adaptation leans into VR as a narrative device, expect questions like who controls the record of events, how memory can be reconstructed or manipulated, and whether technological evidence holds up under legal fire. Thematically, that's fertile ground for an Apple original. Sleek, tech-literate, and grounded in human conflict. It's also the kind of story that can anchor a star performance, an astronaut under pressure, an advocate or investigator with something to prove, and create trailer moments that hook global audiences fast. Let's clarify rights, fast. Book rights and screen rights move on parallel but separate tracks. Publishers compete for the novel's print, ebook, and audio editions, plus translation and territory splits handled by foreign rights teams. Studios and streamers negotiate screen rights for film or TV, often via an option to purchase agreement that sets timelines, extension fees, and reversion triggers if production doesn't happen in time. In this case, Apple preempted dramatization rights ahead of the book auction, which streamlines adaptation plans and removes a big variable from the publishing side. Contrary to fear, that doesn't hurt the book's prospects. It usually helps. A high-profile screen partner boosts discoverability from day one, energizes foreign rights sales, and can supercharge audiobook momentum, especially if a recognizable narrator is attached later. Retailers and e-commerce platforms respond to heat, so a pre-sold adaptation can improve front-of-store placement, co-op marketing, and pre-order performance once the publisher sets a date. For authors and agents, that's a best-of-both-worlds outcome. A hot auction for the text, and a marquee studio shepherding the adaptation, with each side amplifying the other. Who's making it? The film adaptation is set to be produced for Apple TV Plus by 1201 Films, the outfit currently behind My Wife and I Bought a Ranch at Amazon, a signal that they're comfortable in elevated genre spaces with mainstream reach. With authors J.S. Mayank and David Carlisle executive producing, there's a higher likelihood the adaptation preserves the manuscript's thematic spine and technical nuance. EP roles vary by contract, but they often include consultation on script drafts, participation in key creative conversations, and advocacy for the story's intent, which is particularly valuable when the plot leans on sophisticated tech and ethical layers. That creative alignment matters when translating VR to the screen. It's not just about flashy visuals, it's about point of view and emotional truth. Getting authors in the room early can help define what's literal, what's subjective, and how the audience should feel in sequences where perception can be contested. It can also shape how the film communicates complex ideas clearly, so viewers follow the stakes without getting lost in the tech. What does this mean for publishers? Even without screen rights, the book auction remains highly attractive. A pre-sold adaptation creates instant heat around the title, elevates market confidence, and lowers perceived risk for sales, marketing, and publicity teams planning a front-list launch. That halo effect can translate into bigger first-print runs, stronger indie bookseller support, and better sell-in to major retailers. On the international side, foreign rights teams can leverage Apple's involvement to drive competitive auctions territory by territory, often leading to faster closes and better terms. Downstream, if the film advances toward production, publishers can time paperback tie-ins, refreshed cover art featuring the adaptation, and coordinated PR beats around casting announcements and trailer drops. Audiobook publishers may chase celebrity narrators or ensemble performances to match the project's profile. All of this can lift the book's sales curve long before opening weekend, then create a second surge when the film releases. A virtuous cycle many publishers are thrilled to ride. What should viewers expect? If the adaptation honors the comp Gravity Meets a Few Good Men, anticipate a sleek, high-tension sci-tech thriller with VR as a pivotal story device and a space-adjacent setting amplifying stakes. Apple's track record points to top-tier production values, meticulous sound design that sells isolation, precise VFX grounded in realism, and performances that keep the human core front and center. The visual language could swing between the claustrophobia of a capsule or station and the procedural rigor of investigations and hearings back on Earth. Using VR sequences to dramatize contested memories or reconstruct critical moments, there's no official timeline. Generally, film development cycles run 18 to 30 months from deal to release, contingent on script development, talent attachments, production scheduling, location access, and post-VFX scope. If the project aims for a festival premiere strategy, that can influence the calendar too, as Venice, Telluride, and Toronto windows require specific delivery milestones. None of this is locked until Apple announces, but the early preempt suggests they intend to move with purpose.